It's the Equity.Guru Investor Roundtable, and it's Tiidal Gaming Group. We're talking about esports and gaming platforms here. Cool stuff. TIDL on the Canadian Exchange out of Toronto. Thomas Hearn is the boss man. And the writer in this area often enough, and in this case, once again, on the Webby Debby site, is Mr. Joseph Morton. It is Tiidal Gaming, Joseph.
All right, well, Tiidal Gaming. We've come back around to talk about this company, and this is actually probably one of my favorite companies that we cover because I like what they're doing with the mix of gambling and esports, and like what they do. Well, they have two different subsidiaries. The first one is the Sports Player Sportsbook, which includes kind of novel and innovative technologies inside. Like there's one where you can actually bet on yourself. Like you can actually gain some kind of incremental development in your own skills when it comes to playing certain games. Yeah. Like I personally like that. That's a selling point for me. Now, otherwise, I mean, you have micro markets where you can choose what part of the game, where you can choose various categories and parts of the game where you think things are going to happen next. Like at the 3 minute and 33 second mark of this particular session, I'm going to be able to take that guy out with a headshot, and I'm willing to bet $50 on that part. And that is something I would never do because I'm just not that good. But quite frankly, that is a good way to lose money, in my opinion. But it's a great way for this company to make money from people who think they're that good or want to take the bet. Their other subsidiary is, of course, the esports team, Lazarus Esports, which I like for two different reasons. Because it seems to be a natural progression from the bet on yourself part. You get better, you keep getting better, and then eventually you can graduate up to playing professionally. And I don't know if there's an actual track towards doing that, but it seems like a logical progression to me. And I like that they're inclusive because, well, girls get a lot of flack from when it comes to video games. And these guys seem to be on the ball when it comes to inviting the right people into play, regardless of what gender specificity they might have. And these are all the various things I like.
Controlled environment.
Yeah, very controlled environment.
Chris Perry, if you were in this situation with Tiidal Gaming, you had a chance to bet on yourself in that situation. What would you do? What would you bet on yourself playing soccer? What?
I'd take a dive. Jeez. I'd bet on the other guy and take a big fat dive.
It's actually a great idea.
I'm not quite sure how everyone's not doing that. It should be a rush to the bottom. Look, Tiidal Gaming started off on the public market scene, if not on the public markets, about 3-4 years ago as an esports team. I made clear back then that I didn't really rate esports teams as an investable opportunity. Anyone who knows 16-year-old males, and they're always males, knows that they get distracted very easily, and they're into something one week. You spend a couple of grand in indulging that, and then they decide that they're now interested in something else the next week. So esports sounds like a really good job when you're 12, but when you've been doing it for 4 years as a 16-year-old, you want to claw your eyes out rather than play more fucking Fortnite. So angling after that high-end elite level status, I don't think is the way that you make money out of esports. I think that Tiidal's onto something with the bet on yourself side of things. The guys running the show used to run The Score, which infamously managed to make itself into $1 billion company. And I never understood how. I always looked at what they were doing and thought, but everyone else is doing the same thing. How are you worth? But the stock price just kept going on up. And every time they reinvented themselves, and they did, it just worked. So coming into Tiidal, you got the Lazarus Esports team. That's great. That's your outward-facing brand. You've got the bet on yourself tech. That seems to be making some interesting moves. But I'll tell you, the one thing I've told a lot of people in esports that I think is the game changer, I want to be able to play multi with other people who aren't 12-year-olds who are going to call me a fag. I want to be able to actually make friends on the platform easily, bring people into my game easily that are my level easily, or that aren't disturbed that a 52-year-old is in the chat. Like, you know, I want to be able to actually socialize with people like me that are interested in the game I'm interested in and have the same level that I'm at, and then make a team and start betting on myself, because I'm betting on myself against people who are old like me, right? This is the thing that I think everyone's missed in esports, is it's the bottom 90% that you're really going to get the money from, and Tiidal is sort of in that game. So credit to them, and let's see how it goes.
Michelle, you're going to hit charts.
Yeah, I just laughed a bit there just because I recall the chat rooms and some of the games I used to play. I haven't been in any of those, chat rooms for, say, when you're playing Call of Duty and stuff, but I remember some of those comments. But yeah, Tiidal Gaming. We talked about this before as well. We were watching support zone at 15 cents. Unfortunately, that did break down, and we did print all-time record lows on May 12th of this year, hitting lows of 7.5 cents there. But since then, we have begun to recover, and we have just begun to range now, really, between 12 cents here to the bottom and 15 cents here to the upside. 15 cents, I'm actually watching as our sort of major resistance zone. So think of it as a price ceiling. It used to be support, now it's resistance. So we are battling there at 15 cents. Really, you got to wait for a breakout there. That's what you want to see, especially, you know, when you're ranging like this, because you can tell now that there is some sellers here at 15 cents. So better safe to get that breakout to take out all those sellers and continue the uptrend back up here to 20 cents. But if 12 cents does not hold, then you're looking likely to test 7.5 cents there once again. And maybe in terms of catalyst, Joseph wrote about this earlier this morning about the Sigma America Awards there, esports product of the year. Maybe that could be the catalyst to give us that breakout. But basically, Tiidal Gaming is on breakout watch right now.
All right. Do-si do, as we like to say, for Tiidal Gaming, TIDL on the Canadian Exchange out of Toronto, and Tom Hearn. And we go to Joseph first. Are you spending? What are you spending? You got $7,500 each to play with. You're welcome.
All right. Well, for reasons I've already stated, namely what they're doing with the tech and the fact that they're still reasonably small and have a fair distance to grow, I'm actually going to probably throw about $5,000 into the company, because I think it's gonna. I think there's some things coming along in the future which are probably going to bring that price up a bit. So 5,000, have a look at 3 months, figure out what I'm going to do from there, and if they do have a non-substantial pop, but there is some growth, and maybe I'll throw the rest in.
Chris Perry.
You know, when this thing got down to 7.5 cents, there was a moment there where you kind of thought they're either done for, or this is the moment where it comes back. And credit to the company for having put out some substantial news and clawing this thing back up to a double from that point in just a couple of weeks. It wants to go higher. It's trying to go higher. I feel like there's going to need to be a few more metrics exposed and hit. Like, I want to see how many average monthly users. I want to see growth in that. I want to see them maybe acquire a couple more things. The guys behind this thing, they know that this is cheap, but they also know that they don't need to worry about that for the next couple of weeks, the next couple of months. They're just going to put their stuff in order. All of the news has been decent news. It's this is your dad's esport deal, rather than the esports deals that we were seeing that were NFT like in the death of blockchain, which was also NFT like in the death of whatever the hell came before that. This is a grown-up play. The gambling space is a very weird space, and esports in gambling remains a very weird space. I don't really see who's going to pop their head up and own that, or if even it's going to be a thing to own. But Tiidal has not been swept up in the fever and has not been swept up in the need to prove itself every freaking day on the share market. They're just putting it together and they're slowly growing this thing. I've talked to them a few times and I don't have any criticisms of what they're doing. Has the share market appreciated it? No. Has the share market appreciated anything? No, not in the last couple of months. So the fact that there's a little bit of upward mobility here when the rest of the market is popping down, I'd probably put a few thousand in that and see which way the wind blows.
Say 4 then?
I'd put 2.
Yeah.
And, you know, if it starts to elevate a few more cents and get above that line of resistance, I'd put 2 more and 2 more and eventually empty you out.
Yep.
Okay. I
That's
wasn't sure if you said 2 or a few, but we'll go 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. Mr. Vachel.
That's pretty much my play there too, Rob. Just as Chris said, just because we're at this resistance level, I'm going to put in 2K here. I like the fact that we have bounced quite nicely at that record lows there. So I think that's quite telling. And there is, some support there. So I'm going to put 2K here. And it's really about this breakout now, about 15 cents. If we can do that, that sets up a nice potential for momentum to continue and an uptrend just from a technical perspective. And then, we can sort of speculate on what the catalysts are going to be. But, a market cap that's around 10 million, I believe, is what I saw on Yahoo Finance here. 10.4 million. I'm going to put in 2K here and just watch what happens on that break, and then I'll add more on that.
Very good. Ready for some alliteration? That was a very tidy table on Tiidal, if you ask me. By the way, Tiidal, the company is spelled Tiidal, but the symbol is just TIDL. And that does kind of come up and cause some confusion on occasion. It is TIDL on the Canadian exchange. Tom Hearn is the CEO, and they are based in Toronto. We cannot guarantee anything that has been said here today will produce results, but these are smart fellas, the old Joseph down there in the basement and the Chris in the far corner and the man in the gold vault upstairs, Michelle. But again, no guarantees, and also past performance do not guarantee future results. Do your homework, check out Tiidal Gaming, and we'll see you on the next Equity Guru Investor Roundtable.